All right. Okay.
Alright.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Cheyenne Dominguez, your host of Mavens, AI for women in all areas of life, from work to home and everything else. And we have a really special edition this week. We have a special guest with us who I'm excited to introduce to you all. Her name is Geneve Dubois, and she is the CEO and co-founder of SeedJura. And I can't wait for her to tell us all about it. So welcome, Geneve.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Really excited to kind of share with everybody about SeedJura, what we do, and our journey as well. So thanks so much for having me.
Great. Okay, so let's get right into it. Before you tell us about what SeedJura is, maybe first get into a little bit what inspired you to launch SeedJura, because I
Mhm.
know you're an attorney, a lawyer by trade, and
Yes.
you are really operating in the intersection of legal, real estate, and tech.
Yes.
So tell us a very three male-dominated spaces.
Yes.
So tell us what inspired you to launch it before you get into really everything that it's about.
Yeah. So really what inspired me is, like you said, three very, very traditional male-dominated industry. And I feel like a lot of women feel like their ceiling where they can go. And having the experience in all three industries, I feel like I can combine and provide solutions for client, but most importantly is to have a platform that we can give women opportunities, a different kind of options, opportunity to grow themselves as well. And also just to challenge myself, right? As a women minority immigrant, I feel like I have this idea, why not go to do it? And why am I afraid? Right. So let's just launch it and do it with some of my good partners. So that's what really give me the courage and having the life experience in terms of what needs to be done, and the solutions we need to provide. So yeah, so that's why I jumped out of a big firm and do this. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so tell everyone what it is and the problem it solves.
Sure. So SeedJura is actually we call the legal solutions company versus a legal tech company. Um, Legal solutions companies, the objective is to really offer we call affordable and relevant legal solutions for everyday business people who just want to grow their business stronger. To start with, we're laser focused on giving solutions to real estate industry. So basically what it's trying to solve is that we're trying to give options to businesses, especially real estate companies, to help their business to really be able to manage legal and to bring the cost down to make things go faster. So really that's kind of summed it up. There's a lot going on in there, but yeah, so really kind of giving businesses a different option than just traditional law firm. Yeah.
Okay. So I write a lot about AI, and we talk a lot about AI, and that's a
Yeah.
big part of what Mavens is about. It's about encouraging women to really
Hmm.
lean into AI, even if they're not in a tech space, but to understand what's happening in their industry,
Yep.
whatever industry they're in, with regard to AI. So, with in your case, how do
Hmm.
you see AI transforming the legal space or the real estate space or both
Yep.
over the next,
Or
I
to
mean, what
tax
are
space.
or the tech space, right? But I mean, what do you see in the shorter term?
Yeah.
What do you think in the next 2 to 5? And then what do you think further out from that?
Yeah, so generally speaking, AI is making a huge splash in all three industries. The actual, I would say the actual impact the most is the tech industry, because we do see technology companies that are starting to hold off on hiring people. They actually want to invest the money in AI, so to help them develop the technology. So that's the technology industry. AI in terms of to real estate is making progress. The area it makes progress is the data. There's a lot of data in real estate. So they're trying to use AI to kind of absorb the data and the analysis, right? The user data, what's in the
Mhm.
market, and to group the data and analyze the market. There's still a lot of area, I would say 90% of what in real estate, the real estate industries have to do day to day. That's not AI. The legal world, there's a lot of talk about, oh, one day we don't need lawyers anymore, we're going to have AI do everything. It is far from being there. I would say that legal world right now, um, doesn't matter what the news said, we're in the trenches, so we see what
Mhm.
lawyers can and cannot do and cannot use. AI is absolutely not there at all. And I can explain the reasons if we want to dive
Yeah.
into it. But
Yes.
I think in next 3 years, tech absolutely is taken over by AI very quickly in a very, they're good and bad way, but there's a lot of good to the tech that have AI. I think that they are going to struggle a little bit in the real estate world just because the real estate is very traditional. Until the data all kind of like organized, it's hard for AI to just take over the daily processes. The other thing
Mhm.
about real estate is I wouldn't use the word chaotic. I would use the word real estate, or think about it as its component and combined with bunch of smaller businesses. So you can have a real estate company of 7 people, they can do billion-dollar deals, right?
Mhm.
Versus in corporate world, you have this huge, gigantic company, have policies, processes in place. So you have a bunch of smaller companies doing big deals, but they're smaller companies. They're going to function like smaller companies. So by nature, they're not going to be as, like a big corporation, organized, division of work, processes. So the more unstructured it is, the harder it is for AI to actually produce predictable results. Um,
Mhm.
in legal, they get AI actually have three challenges. Number one is unstructured data. To this day, everybody's still thinking about legal as just PDF with a bunch of words, right? Whatever they are
Mhm.
trying to dive into, they're like, we can't do, we can't really mess with what the legal people do, but let's take that chaos, have AI dive into it, kind of grab things out of chaotic words. So I always describe it as if you have a home that's hoarders of tons of stuff not organized just everywhere, instead of trying to get it organized so that you know where things are, you can retrieve it quickly. Like, we just leave it alone, but we're going to get a little, I don't know, robot in there. I say, robot, get
Mhm.
me some socks, right? So then robot cross in and all different area, try to get you socks. Sometimes it looks like socks, sometimes it's not a sock, a pair of
Right.
socks. So that's kind of the best way to describe how they're trying to use AI in the legal world. Yeah, so that's kind of short term where kind of things goes in AI, I think. Yeah.
Mhm. Do you think, just building on that a little bit or expanding on that, do you think we will eventually see a transition or a shift from firms billing hourly, or how they've always done traditionally, or attorneys billing hourly, to a shift in how billing is done in the legal space and incorporating other types of AI outcomes? Do you see that happening anywhere in the near future, or is that way off?
It's not way off. Actually, law firms have been struggling in terms of billing hourly versus alternative fee structure, even before AI is in the picture. And they always falls back on billing hourly rate just because it's easier, more predictable for the law
Mhm.
firms, right? So it kind of
Mhm.
like if you're a hotel, you're selling rooms and you're telling a hotel you can't charge a room rate anymore, charge by something else. So it takes a little different business model to change that. Now AI comes in picture, it does mess things up a little bit for a law firm because they're like, what are we going to do about AI? Because in the past, I do a task that takes 5 hours. If you implement AI correctly and they actually implement on a task is capable of doing, you can put that down to an hour or
Mhm.
30 minutes. Now, let's just say $100 per hour. Used to you can charge $500. Now you only can charge $100, right? That's a loss of revenue for the law firm. In the same time,
Hmm.
that is spend money for AI. So law firms are saying, okay, then we will turn around, charge client for the technology. Well, actually, it's debatable in the legal world. Lawyers are not supposed to charge clients of the stuff that legally you're not sitting there doing, right?
Hmm.
It's an ethics thing. So in fact, the bar association always said if the law firm is getting benefits in terms of doing things faster, they need to pass that benefit to the client. So if I don't have to do 5 hours, I say 4 hours, I have to pass that benefit to the client. So really, by doing all that, I can only charge the client $100. So they have to start thinking really creatively, and they are struggling with that. With that being said, we at SeedJura, we don't charge client by hourly rate. We do real estate, so they have a limited budget, what they can do in these transactions in each type of work. And we work with the client on their budget, and then we actually give them a flat fee. And
Hmm.
then we actually work with lawyers, and we are lawyers as well. We have lawyers on our platform in-house. We also work with lawyers from many different firms. And we do pay them how they want to be charged, which is hourly rate. So it's up to us to manage them to make sure that they're efficient, right? Um,
Hmm.
so long term, I think that this is a push. It makes the client question at least, why are you charging me 5 hours when I know you have AI doing this for an hour? So at least it pushes the client to be aware and start having a conversation. I think eventually, maybe 5 years down the road, um, the law firms will more and more towards not charging just by hourly rate. Yeah.
Hmm. Wow. Wow. Okay. So let's talk about some tools that are, more becoming now more commonplace
Mm,
for everyday women, everyday professionals, like ChatGPT being the biggest, Claude, Perplexity, those sort of ones that are now like mainstream use.
mm.
Are you using those? Are those promising in your world? And where do you think professionals, women who may be listening or watching need to be careful with using them?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. There's a lot of things flowing out there. Um, in our world, because we're legal, we have to be extremely careful. We actually had to be really in tune with other lawyers, every single transactions. We designed how we want to implement AI into our solutions, our technology, but we have not implemented that yet. The reason being, when you're using AI, you have to keep in mind, even the OpenAI, the CEO said legal is a problem for ChatGPT because they can't guarantee your information actually not going to be taken by the big, we call it big brain, right?
Right.
And
Hmm.
the foundation of legal is attorney-client privilege. That is the most important thing the lawyer has to comply with. And any risk, if you're not 200% sure any communication with your client that the media you use is absolutely not going to get out of that shell, then actually, as a lawyer, you really cannot use it.
Hmm.
And it's up to the lawyer to judge that. It's not the client's
Hmm.
responsibility, the lawyer's responsibility. So because of that, SeedJura has a technology component. We're also a law firm. We provide technology, but we also use that technology overlay with services to give that entirety of solution to the client. So because of that, our clients are, they are client law firm. We have to comply with attorney-client privilege. Every single technology that we build is protect that attorney-client privilege. So because of that, we study a lot of AI. We actually find a way we can implement AI into our technology. They ensure that even though they take the information, the AI takes the information, it's not going to make any sense to them.
Mhm.
However, even with that being said, um, we cannot implement it because a lot of law firms and lawyers that we're working with, they will not use anything with AI. Okay. So in the legal world, there's absolutely resistance of
Mhm.
using AI, not because they're mean, not because they don't want to, just because there are a lot of ethical things they have to think about. And with the reason I'm explaining this is that I'm not trying to discourage any women out there using AI. Actually, contrarily, I think that women should absolutely dive into understand how AI works. Start with ChatGPT, right? I do use ChatGPT on things that quote doesn't matter. I will never put a
Mhm.
client things in that. I don't ask it for legal questions. But just I use it like on just try it out on daily basis. My personal things, trying to ask for something that doesn't matter, unrelated to the client, just to see how good it is, generate some pictures, for a lot of marketing stuff is really good, by the way.
Mhm.
So we use a lot of it on the marketing side in terms of, they can phrase things and give you some of the statistic things. You do have to double check everything. So
Mhm.
I think women should absolutely dive into different kind of tools. Start with ChatGPT. The easiest one is free. There's a level that is free. Then start learning different things. Then start looking at their own world, that including their kids and
Mhm.
including their relationship, including their work environment. The work environment, I think women can bring in a mindfulness, I think women, we have to deal with a lot of things that man is different than man. For example, skincare, we have to deal with, a lot of different levels of skincare, put on makeups while we're driving. We have to deal with a lot of this
Mhm.
stuff. Those are tools or techniques that we have that we can go learn technology and be very mindful and say, how is this going to impact my company, our industry, and be the one in the room that everybody's like, what is this out there? What is that? And you could be the one say, hey, I know what it is. I tried it and I know this is how it can apply to us. This is the pros and cons. I think that
Mhm.
would really help women to be the voice in the room that when everybody else just like, what is going on here? So yeah, I hope I answered your question on that one. Yeah.
No, that's great. I want to
Mm,
skip ahead since you started talking about ethics a bit. So,
mm,
that's certainly one area that I really personally want to encourage women to lean into,
mm,
because women are natural storytellers. We are statistically are less impulsive than our male counterparts.
yes.
So, approach things with a bit more caution and hesitation, which can work to our advantage, I think, in the AI ethics space. So,
Hmm.
um, I guess maybe talk a little bit about that, how you think
Yeah.
women could help shape ethics and the responsibility of AI, even if they're not, even if they're at their organizations and they're not very tech savvy. They're
Hmm.
just starting to learn about AI, they're leaning into it. I believe that they really have a place at the table around ethics and responsibility. But
Absolutely.
but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So AI with ethics is what's going to kill AI in any industry. Okay.
Mhm.
And especially on some of the industry like legal, like for example, the world I am in, ethics is extremely important. And I think even in the tech world, there is a aspect of ethics. And that is an area of AI that absolutely has to grow. And I think by itself is an industry. So I absolutely agree with you. I think women need to dive in to be, I wouldn't say the master, but really be the dominant role to grow the ethics in AI. There's
Mhm.
a saying, right? It said, I think in Jurassic Park, the chaos expert said, um, as science, you shouldn't just ask what we can do. You need to ask what we should do, right? That's what
Mhm.
ethics is all about. And you don't have to be a tech savvy person to understand how a technology applied to ethics. What they have to understand is not understand the code, but understand key elements, right? Everybody,
Mhm.
all the industries, ethics, there's a parameter, and you understand what the parameter is, and then you take the tool, which is right now is AI, and that's the same in 5 years, come up with other eyes, right? Other things. When you take that tool, you got to say, okay, so what is the feature of this? You got to start asking questions based on your ethics parameter. And then you're going to dive into that tool based on your questions that you formulated. Talk to the tech people, involve other people who are actually expert in it, have no um, personal interest in terms of having to push the AI, but more objectively. So, like at SeedJura, we actually work with academia. We went to professors in colleges and pay them
Mhm.
actually say, we want to hire a consultant, tell me the truth. Is this thing actually can keep things confidential? And they tell us the truth, right?
Mhm.
So um, I think for women, you just need to find resource, which women is really good at. Find resource that people know the technical stuff and have them teach you, not the coding, but understand how does this actually work and do research on it, which women is really good at as well. And then look at the parameter of your industry and then start formulating questions out of those parameters and start applying what you learn and how it's fit into it. Then creates pros and cons, right, for your
Mhm.
industry. Like this is what this tool, the pro is, this is what the con is, and this is where the
Mhm.
risk is going to be. And based on that, then now you can come together and go like, okay, so ethically, how do we apply AI in this industry? I don't think AI in terms of ethics is like a broad, um, it is a broad discussion, but really for it to work in terms of ethics, you need to dive into every single industry and understand
Mhm.
how that's going to impact every single one of them. And I think women can definitely play a huge role in that. Yeah.
Mhm. No, that's great. I think understanding, if you're not a coder, but uh, understanding the framework, I think is a great way to think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And then just the interesting is like, um, so I give you a quick story. When I
Mhm.
graduated undergrad, I was not a computer science major. I was just a business major. And I got recruited to this huge software company. And then I told them, I said, I don't know how to write code. And they said, it's okay, we'll teach you. It's not about, we can teach you how to write code. What we cannot teach you is how to be a human, all your other aspects of being, right?
Mhm.
So that software company actually they specifically hire people that doesn't know how to write code because they need your life experience from a different perspective. So
Mhm.
they taught me how to write code, but when I first start working for them, it's very intimidating because everybody around me, white male, suit and tie, right? I'm the only female woman. I was the youngest one at the time. I was like 24 years old. And I sit in meetings. At first, I don't know what they're talking about, right? And they gave me a mentor, again, older white male. And I said to him, I said, I feel like an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what they're saying. They use all these acronyms. My mentor told me that they don't know neither. They're just pretending. So, he was trying to make me feel better. But he said, just take one thing and start diving into it, right? If you have questions, grab me. And just from that little point, once you start diving into it, branches start happening. And you just take down the branch. And then before you know it, you are more expert than the ones in the room. So
Mhm.
that's how that's how I kind of learned the technology when I started a software company. And then, I start learning how to write code. But I was never, when I learned how to write code, they always have the plan for me to go to the business sector, which is marketing and sales and all that. But they said you can't sell something if you don't know it, right? So they wanted me to be an engineer first.
Mhm.
So it takes not to be afraid of it and understand it is relevant to you. You can make it relevant to you. and then take a small point, start learning, find a great mentor, one person you can trust, and go to ask them questions until they don't know what's happening. They go to ask somebody else, you know?
Hmm.
So that is no different than today's world. It's even easier. You go on TikTok, you go on YouTube. There's tons of other resources that you can actually um, pick up all kinds of information. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, well, so that parlays right into my next question is really around, women have also a natural tendency to be very hesitant about technology and AI, which we were saying could work to our advantage in the ethics space.
Yeah.
Um, but we have traditionally we adopt technology at a slower rate than men.
Yeah.
And so what's maybe a small, easy, practical step that women could do something, to build a little bit more confidence in tech or AI? And I love what you just said, find a mentor, find one thing to dive into. So those were great suggestions, but if you have any others, I'd love to hear those. I recommend to
Yes.
women, like following people on Instagram who you find interesting, subscribing to, different newsletters and blogs. But anything else, any other thoughts you have on that? Just for
So
women who
what
really
so
men.
so my thought is this. It's easier to learn something if it related to what you're interested, right?
Right.
So don't look at it as, oh, I need to learn a technology. I'm not even a TikTok person. Now I gotta go download TikTok, see what that is. I'm not an AI person. Now I gotta download that. There's just so many tools out there. Where am I gonna start, right?
Right.
Technology is supposed to serve you, supposed to serve the business. So find something you are very interested. For example, um, let's just say, like I was talking about skincare earlier today.
Right.
Um, let's say you're very interested in skincare and you're like, well, Korean has good skincare. What does that mean? Right? So you naturally gonna go online, gonna find information, but you're gonna go more like Google, right? Traditional way. Well, instead of do that, try to chat GPT, try a new tool, right?
Hmm.
And there are a lot of apps out there already from Asia that's actually you can download, talk about different skincare. You can take a picture of yourself, and analyze your skin and all that. Just pick something that you're really interested in. If you're interested in sports, there are tons of app out there, right? Some of them are AI related, some of them not. And then just start diving into and just try out the app. The more I think you focus on what you're interested in, getting information or achieve what you want to do through the app, the more the tools and technology become invisible to you. You're just doing the thing and there's not intimidating you anymore. My
Hmm.
81-year-old mother, okay, she lives by herself in China. I told her 10 years ago, I said, get an iPhone. She's like, what do I do with the iPhone? So I made my cousin bought her an iPhone and walked through with her. Today she has 5 different devices. She have iPad, all these other devices. She paid bills by herself. It saved her during COVID because she's by herself in her apartment. She get delivered, she got everything delivered, right? People in her neighbors, like 30-year-old, come to her for technology advice because she's like, listen, I'm old, I have tons of time. All I do is sit home and play with different apps. Whatever the technology is, I have time to learn. The most challenging thing I think for women is actually not that women's not interested. There's a lot going on in women's life, right?
Hmm.
And you got kids, you got to bring them to soccer, you got work, you got husband, you got to cook, you got to do this. The last thing you're like, when am I going to have time to download something to learn this app? Incorporate it in your life,
Hmm.
cookbooks, your kids' schedule. How do I incorporate? So find a tool that's technology can help me get everything organized. And in the same time, you're learning technology as well. So
Hmm. No, I love that. And even personally, I mean, I love to travel, and ChatGPT has become so helpful for me in planning travel.
same.
It's amazing. It's definitely, a big time saver, especially if it's family travel, and, um, different ages and different interests and different activities. It's just been really helpful in that way from a personal perspective. And it's fun to use it that way.
Exactly. And once you use it, and then you kind of use different things, different AI, and you go like, there's nothing out there really meets my need. You can create something, right?
Hmm.
And that's why I said AI and technology world is not a bad thing because eventually you don't really need to know a lot of code in order to create an app that helps you. So that's kind of where it's going, right? In the
Hmm.
technology world.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I think if my 81-year-old mother in China can do it, come on, all of us can do it,
that's
you
right. We
know?
all can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are a woman, you're leading across three traditionally male-dominated industries. Share with us any challenges you faced that you feel
Mm.
comfortable sharing and what helped you navigate that.
Yeah, so I always say I have three strikes against me. So when I graduated from undergrad, and I always think that, I always think, where am I going with my life? I'm an immigrant, I'm Chinese, American, and I'm woman, right? Who do I connect with that who would bring me out for a drink? I was young at the time as well, right? So um, when I started working for the software company, they're all male around me, and the software company is very good at providing me a mentor to help me. Um, what I learned over the year, number one, stop limiting yourself because you're a woman. In fact, I found over the years we are different than men. But we are all different. Even man and man are different. Short man and tall man are different. We have different effects in the room. We have different impact on Zoom. We need a diverse group. Utilize what you have to your advantage. I find a lot of times women, as a women lawyer, in a room of all men, when I'm negotiating, there's actually advantages if I know how to use it, right?
Hmm.
Um, the challenge is this as a women try to climb the corporate ladder, so called, no matter which industry you are in, the bigger company, the more you have to climb. The key for anybody, it's not even just for women, the key for anybody to achieve the high level is you need at least one person in that organization stuck their neck out there for you.
Hmm.
When you're not in the room, which in the beginning you know you're not gonna be in that room, no
Hmm.
matter it's management, as low level as project management, kind of like meeting who is, you have representative in there, who is going to take this job, who is going to do this, to the board level, who can we increase to be a partner, right? You have to have that at least one person that would be, they are in the room, they are in every room that you need them to be, and they are being respected, their voice matters, and they'll stuck their neck out there for you. And the reason being women is hard is because most of that person I'm talking about, they're white male. It's not because white male against us. It's just that it's hard to connect, right? Human being natures connect with people like them.
Hmm.
So think about like in law firms, if you are associate, you're sitting there, and the next room there's a white male sitting there. The partners come out with their big old office, going to grab a drink. He is going to stop at the women attorney, associate's door, look at her, and he's going to go through. I can grab her for a drink, but then I don't want to be perceived something is off, right?
Hmm.
So they're going to next one go like, oh, this guy, yeah. Hey, do you want to go for a drink? And the guy, naturally, they're going to go for a drink and nothing more than, oh, we're just trying to make business connection. And um, when the women being passed again and again, that male associates start connecting more and more with a partner. When there is a project, when this partner is in that room, the key room, and somebody said, hey, who can do this job? He's going to say that male associate versus that female associate because he knows connected with that male associate more. So that's the challenge of women. right? How do you have somebody will stick their neck out there for you, will advocate for you, will say, listen, she can do this, give her a
Mm-hmm.
chance, right? And I think that is the biggest challenge. At least in my path, I found that's most women's biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to get over that challenge is very, very difficult, but it's absolutely, absolutely doable. I'm sure you have done that yourself as
Mm-hmm.
well. And you probably agree is that we have to be a little bit more proactive, right? Instead of
Mm-hmm.
waiting there, somebody knocking on your door, hey, you want to go for a drink? You can go grab several partners. Hey, I have this event, be in tune of the events they're into, sporting events or whatever, and say, hey, love to go, right? Um, and then the key is what do you talk about when you hang out? So that's when technology come in place. If you know technology, which they need to know, that they don't know, then now they have to latch on to you to say, hey, Geneve, tell me more about this AI thing. What should we do about this? Right? Um, so you becoming like there's a topic they need to lean on you for, and then you have something really to talk with the person you want to build a relationship with, they can stick their neck out there for you. I think that
Mm-hmm.
that is for me, at least in law firm, in technology company, in real
Mm-hmm.
estate company, very important key. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great insight. Okay, so tell us a little bit about with SeedJura, you have been seeking investors.
Yep.
So tell us a little, maybe take a two-prong um, look at, share this from a
Sure.
two-prong perspective, maybe how it's going, number
Yep.
one, and how that experience has been for you as a woman doing a fundraise, in the investment space, in the VC space. So how has
Yeah.
that experience been for you as a woman? And then how is it going?
Thank you for asking that question. Yes, we are in the middle of fundraising, our first round, actually. Um, Actually, the experience that very unique for us, not even because I'm a woman, is really because of what our company is. Um, we are intertwining legal and human talent, right? Most venture capital investors looking for technology company, just technology. We are intertwining technology and talent together to provide solution.
Mhm.
So the question is always from investors like, well, when are you going to get to a point that just no human, we just have technology? Okay. And our answer
Mhm.
is always, we're not trying to replace lawyers. We're trying to intertwine them in the right place so that the costing come down, quality go up, things go faster. That's
Mhm.
what the clients want. And the investor, they are really laser focused on, well, is it AI? Is it technology? Yeah, is this technology? It's not AI. Why are you not doing AI? Right? They have kind of their agenda, what they feel like the market, they perceive as what works for legal. But we're in the trenches every day. We know that whatever they perceive, it doesn't really work, at least at this moment. And we're not going to create something just because we need their money. We need it's the investor is not just money, it's a new partner for us, right? So we want an
Mhm.
investor that we can build relationship long term. They can help us to grow the market. They can help us open doors, give us their experience as well. Um, the other uniqueness of our company is that we're actually profitable. And for a lot of VC at a startup, they're like, well, most startups are not profitable. But the reason being, we are lawyers and we already have clients. We already have substantial income and revenue in the company. That's different than any other startup. So
Mhm.
that's kind of story of my life. Like there is a sheet of checkbox, right? You got to check this box, check this box, check this box, boom, money give it to you. Before you got check this box, check this box, boom, here partnership, right? And I never check any of the boxes, and our company doesn't check into all the boxes that a venture capital firm look for. But with that being said, we are talking to a few that very promising, and we feel like they can help us to expand our company quickly. to lift it to a different level. We need their talent, we need their insight as well. So it's been going really well, but it's definitely a growing process for individually, actually, also for the company. We have a great fractional CEO, a CFO who's helping us as well, and we have a lot of friends in the market who's helping us try to bring people in. The investment world, I think you know, is also very male dominated.
Mm-hmm.
And I have very frank conversation with my fractional CFO. I said, listen, I need honest answer. Me being women, actually, I'm not even concerned so much about women. Me being Chinese American, is it a negative thing? And he said to me, he said, listen, you need to be who you are, and you have the strength, and also the talent and the uniqueness why this company is here, right? And so you need to, because I was going to push my husband out there. My husband is a white male. He's our CTO. And my other
Mm-hmm.
partner is a white male, who's a legal person. I'm like, maybe one of them can be. I absolutely went through that whole months of it.
Wow.
My
Wow.
son, my son put his foot down and said, Mom, you're the one that doing all this technology and legal, right? They want you to be the CEO. You can't be because you're women and Chinese that you're afraid of it, right? If anybody don't want to invest in you because you're women and you're Chinese, you don't want that investor anyways, right? So I don't know if I'm white male be easier. Maybe we already got the investment now. I don't know that. That's an alternative universe I'm not diving into. We have what we have. We're women. We have to embrace ourselves and not be afraid of it. And we have to stand out there and utilize what we have to our advantage, I think. So it's a absolutely a learning and growing process that we love it. We love every day we do. We love every investors we talk to, and make a lot of friends through the process too. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Thank you for sharing that vulnerable space, because I think probably every woman listening could identify with that.
Yeah, I
With
think
the
we all
the
have
the
that
thought of
moment.
the thought of maybe it's better to put someone else as the face, right? And second guessing yourself. But I'm glad your family encouraged you and supported you in putting yourself forward and being out there. That's great.
I think that one key thing, if I have to say, is as women, we are good. We're really good at gather people around us, right? That's
Hmm.
really a good talent. Lean on them, utilizing them,
Hmm.
right? Utilizing means having them to help us with their talent. And one thing I say, maybe I'm really lucky. Every single mentor I have who's a white male, I wouldn't be here today without them, right? Lean on those people. They want to help us, but they sometimes they don't know how, right?
Hmm.
So I knock on people's door. There's one partner in my old firm in New York that I really, really wanted to build a relationship with him. He's much older. I just every time I go to New York, I don't care if he wants to talk to me or not. I knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'm Geneve. Remember I talked to you 3 months ago?" Not in an annoying way, but after a while, that one time I didn't go and knock on his door, and he saw me next time. He said, "Why didn't you? I heard that you were in New York. Why didn't you come and knock on my door?" And we start working together. As I brought in clients, actually, he started working on my matters, and turned out to be a great attorney. I learned a lot from him. We got mutual respect, and he was one of those persons that actually advocate for me as well. So I think it's just lean on others and not feeling like we're not alone, right? We
Hmm.
have to lean on each other as women, but also we need to lean on the white males who are already there. They have to pull
Hmm.
us up sometimes.
Hmm. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so before we close up here, any last thoughts, whether it's AI, maybe a habit or a tool that you use day to day that you'd recommend we try, or maybe it's just a thought on women in business in general before we close, or and just any last thoughts as you think about, the women who may be listening or watching to our interview together.
Yeah, so I think that the last thing I want to say is that I really want to thank you. You're a courageous woman, with a lot of things you already put together in the past, but your talents really gather people together and look forward, right?
Hmm.
So you are one type of leader that we need to lean on. So I want to thank you for all your effort,
Thank
and
you.
you reach out to me, to other people. Really, really appreciate it. So I just want to tell women out there, we are more than 50% in the world, right? So we are mothers, we gave birth. And even for the ones that didn't give birth, it doesn't matter. It's like we as capable as man, and sometimes we bring different perspective. Let's have courage, go out there, lead this world to the next phase. We are in a very chaotic time, but in chaos, there's also opportunities, right?
Hmm.
And it's an opportunity for us to lean in and lead the world and open up for the next generation, to a better world. So
Excellent. All right. Well, we'll leave it there. That's a great last word to leave on. Thanks
thank you.
everyone for being with me, Cheyenne Dominguez, and with Geneve Dubois of SeedJura. And we'll see you next time on Mavens.
Thank you.